Okay, we're back, and I am still reading the Twits, and we're actually still in the same chapter. There's a break in the chapter, and I thought that meant that it was going to go on to the next one, but we're still actually in the chapter. Mrs. Twit gets a stretching. Now, the reason I thought that the chapter was done because of the break, which is right here, I'll show you. And it's a break, which I should know this by now. It's a break because there's a picture. Let's look at the picture. Okay, good. We can see some things. We can see that she is completely helpless, without help, and unable to move because she is being pulled to the sky, and she is attached to the ground. Do you see the ring bolt? The ring that he attached to the ground? Kind of little bit looks like the tiny little ring I have here. Dink. Okay. We can see that she does not look comfortable, and he looks thrilled with himself. Maybe not thrilled, but happy, or mischievous at least. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading this same chapter. Are you sure my feet are properly tied to the ground? She gasped. If those strings around my ankles break, it'll be goodbye for me. And that's what gave Mr. Twit his second nasty idea. Can you guess what the idea is? Let's see. Oh, now the chapter changes. It figures. We're just going to keep going. Okay. The next chapter is called Mrs. Twit Goes Ballooning Up. You can see that they've made the word balloon into a verb, which is a verb, action word, verb, by putting ing on the end of it. And Mrs. Twit goes ballooning up. So we ended the last chapter with Mr. Twit having his second nasty idea right after she said, if those strings around my ankles break, it'll be goodbye for me. And so Mrs. Twit goes ballooning up, making me think that she's going to go up with the balloons, even though she's supposed to be attached to a ring. So let's see what happens. There's enough pull here to take me to the moon, Mrs. Twit cried out. To take you to the moon, exclaimed Mr. Twit. What a ghastly thought. We wouldn't want anything like that to happen. Oh dear, no. We most certainly wouldn't, cried Mrs. Twit. Put some strings around my ankles quickly. I want to feel absolutely safe. Very well, my angel, said Mr. Twit, and with a ghoulish grin on his lips, he knelt down at her feet. He took a knife from his pocket, and with one quick slash, he cut through the strings that were holding Mrs. Twit's ankles to the iron ring. So he just released his wife into the air like she's a hot air balloon. She went up like a rocket. Help! Save me! But there was no saving her now. In a few seconds, she was high up in the blue sky, climbing fast. Mr. Twit stood below, looking up. What a pretty sight, he said to himself. How lovely all those balloons look in the sky. And what a marvelous bit of luck for me. At last the old hag is lost and gone forever. So he is super happy that he just sent his wife to her death. He thinks it's real pretty with all the bright balloons in the air. Oh, good. We get a good picture of it. This is how we're just got to do a better job looking for the pictures. Okay, so down here on the ground, we see Mr. Twit looking up, and we see Mrs. Twit is flying off into the sky. She still has her cane, though. He has cut her loose, and there she goes. He looks, let's see if I can see his face. He looks very pleased with himself. And she looks, well, she looks crazy like she always looks, but unhappy at best. Let's see if there's any more. And that's the end of that chapter. So, gasped. She gasped whenever she got sent into the air. That means it's a quick in-breath. And he's basically murdered his wife, but he seems very unconcerned about it, which is Roald Dahl's way of doing things in books. There's always a character in his books that's doing something awful, and they're completely oblivious or not caring about the fact that they did something awful. So, We're going to stop here and we're going to come back and we're going to start going chapter by chapter again, and I'm not going to start halving them. Okay?